I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret because I have a special talent that I haven't told you guys about yet. I can juggle. Yeah, that's right. Dun, 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 dun. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, please, no. You're too kind. Thank you.
Engage.
Hey, so today I am doing episode 11. It's called Haven, and this episode is actually more of a love story than anything else. It starts out with the Enterprise going to this planet Haven, and I'm not sure it actually explains why they're going there. It doesn't seem to be much of a reason for it. But while they're there, Deanna Troi gets this package. It's a chest, and it has it's like a metal chest, and it has a little face on it, and it says that the wedding party is coming aboard. And it turns out that when Deanna Troi was really young, her father and her father's best friend planned an arranged marriage between Deanna Troi and the friend's son. And now all these years later, the son and his family had actually tracked down Deanna Troi's mother and said, we want to go through with the arranged marriage. So the parents of the guy beam on board, and Deanna meets them, and she meets the man, his name's Wyatt, that she's going to marry. Then her mother comes on board, and her mother and Wyatt's parents don't like each other. So that throughout the entire show, they're bickering about stuff, like how the marriage ceremony should be, and just everything. So Deanna Troi and Wyatt are kind of getting to know each other. And while this is happening, they pick up, or the people on Haven pick up a ship on their radar. And they contact the Enterprise, and apparently the Enterprise and the Federation have a treaty with Haven saying that the Federation will protect them, since Haven is a peaceful planet, doesn't have any weapons. So the Enterprise, they scan the ship, and it turns out it's the Trellians, who were wiped out about a decade ago or so, I think it says, by a plague caused by weapons, biological weapons that they released on, the two continents are at war, so they've used biological weapons. They'd all been wiped out, apparently except for this one ship. So the people on Haven are freaking out because they think that these people are going to come and infect them. And whenever the ship gets closer, the Enterprise hails them, they don't respond, they catch them in a tractor beam. And then finally the Trellians hail them, and there's this woman on the ship. And earlier in the episode, Wyatt had pictures of this woman, and he said he'd been seeing her in his dreams through his entire life, and he assumed that it was Deanna because she was telepathic, and he thought that either they had a link or she was projecting herself into his mind, but then he finds out that it's not Deanna, and he has no idea who this woman is. Turns out she's on the Trellian ship, and she's also been having dreams of him since she was a little girl. So Wyatt, he knows that he has to be with her, so he gathered up some medical supplies because he's a doctor. He beams over to the other ship and says that he's going to live with them and try to find a way to cure them. Because there's only 8 people left on this ship, and they're the only ones left of their species. And they can't land on any planets because no one will take them. So he's going to try to cure them, and the episode ends. It's a pretty, I'm not going to say straightforward episode, because I feel like I say that about a lot of the episodes. But it's no big catastrophe going on. It's not really a life and death situation. It's more of just relationships and kind of a love story, really, because Deanna, she doesn't want to marry this man. She doesn't know him. I don't even think she ever met him. She kind of knew his parents when she was a girl. But she doesn't really want to marry him. But she's going to go through with it because it is their custom, and she would have to leave the Enterprise, and she's willing to do that. And her mother wants her to go through with it too, and it's what her father wanted, so she's just going to do her duty and marry him. But she doesn't really want to, and Riker doesn't want her to either because they still have a kind of a little thing going on. But as Deanna points out, Riker does have feelings for her, but the one thing that he wants more than anything else is to be a starship captain. And getting married, especially to someone that he works with on his ship, that would mess up his career track. So he's not going to be able to actually have a real relationship with Deanna, but he still kind of wants her around, and he wants her to remain single just in case of that opportunity. And she kind of points out to him that that's not really fair, and it's not going to work out, and they can still be friends. And she says she does still have feelings for him, but it's just they can't have a relationship. But through the whole episode, Riker is just kind of upset about it, and he's just kind of being kind of childish about it, because they have a toast to, like, they're about to get married. They have a toast to the couple, and he doesn't toast them, and then he's kind of rude to Wyatt. And you can kind of see where it's coming from, because it's mentioned a few times, and you get the impression that him and Deanna had a really strong relationship in the past. But when you look at it in the way that he was the one who let her go, and he was the one who put his career and this new assignment that took him away from her, he put that first. It's like he needs to just let it go and let her live her own life, instead of just kind of keeping her around as almost a backup plan. And I know that's not how the relationship is, because they do eventually end up together in Nemesis. But it's just kind of this really long, drawn-out process of where one of them just really let go. But I like this episode because we get to see more of Deanna, and we get to see more of her personality and her past, and we actually meet her mother, which, like the other characters, we haven't seen any of their family. And it's neat because Deanna, I think, she's one of the less, like, not the less complicated characters, because not that she's shallow, it's just that we don't get to see a lot of her personality. She's a very controlled person. She spends her job, and she spends her day talking to other people about their feelings, but we never really get to see how she feels about something, because she just kind of reflects everyone else. And she gives opinions to the captain, and she'll, like, tell him her opinion on stuff and what she's sensing from different people that they come in contact with. But we never actually get to see her true personality come through. She's just a very reserved person, and I think this episode is cool because we actually do get to see more of what she is really like. Because we get to see her interact with her mother. We get to see her interact with her mother. We get to see her interact with this man, Wyatt, that she thinks that she's going to marry. And you really get to see more of her come through. She is she's a very dedicated person. Because we know that she's good at her job. She's a good psychologist, good counselor. She's willing to put aside her career and her personal feelings in order to go through with this marriage that her father planned either right when she was born or when she was a few years old, or we're not really sure when she planned it, but she's willing to put aside her entire future, really, to go through with this Betazoidian tradition. And I think that's kind of admirable in her, because it's not what she wants, and it's kind of weird that she's willing to go through with it, because I obviously wouldn't do that, but on the same side, I think it's very, admirable of her, like I said. I don't know, I like this episode because we do get to see a lot more of Troi. We get to see Lwaxana Troi, who comes back more in future episodes. I really like her, because she was that same actress. I think she was married to Gene Roddenberry, and she was in the original series as Nurse Chapel, and I really liked her then, and I think it's kind of cool that they brought her back in this to be Lwaxana Troi. And she is a completely different character, because she's not reserved at all. She says what she's thinking, because she can read people's minds, so, like, on Betazoid, everyone just says what they're thinking, or they think what they're thinking. So she brings that over to the Enterprise, and I like the episodes that she's in. I think she shakes things up a little on the Enterprise, and that's good. That's pretty much all there is to this episode. I do like the character of Wyatt that they bring into it. He's just in the one episode, and then he goes off to be with his dream woman on the Trellian ship. But he's actually, he seemed like a genuinely good guy, and it seemed like they built a good character for him just for the one episode that he was in. We don't really know much about him, besides that he's a doctor. He's been dreaming about this woman since he was young. But he's a very, he seems like a good match for Troi, almost. Because neither of them, they're emotional, but they aren't really, like, loud and annoying about it. They just seem like they would fit well together. I didn't want them to go off and get married, of course, but I feel like they would have made a good match. And I like the ending. It's incredibly cheesy, because it pretty much just says, oh, they're pretty much soulmates, and they're destined to be together. They've been dreaming about each other, now they're gonna go fly off in their little ship. And it's incredibly cheesy, but I like the ending. It's really, really cute, because this kind of thing, it doesn't seem like it happens in Star Trek that much, because even though it is more of a lighthearted show, there's still a lot of sad endings in this show, and a lot of people die. And I love that just like for this one episode, they had these two random characters they brought into it, they found true love, and then they leave. And I really like that about this episode. That is about it. The first time I saw this episode, I wasn't a big fan because not much happens. But going back and seeing it, I do think that it was important because before this, we hadn't seen a lot of Deanna's character. And getting into the 11th episode of the show, they're hitting the point where they need to flesh her out more if she's going to continue to be on the show. Because people weren't going to like her at this point if all they saw was just her walking around in her little onesie, dispensing advice to other people, but never actually showing anything of herself. So I think this was a good episode for that. So thank you for watching. Today is National Clean Out Your Refrigerator Day. So in honor of this occasion, I'm going to clean out my refrigerator. I don't think we have much in here. We have a bottle of water. That is my roommate's. This is a half gallon of milk that expired last week. That is mine. I should throw that out. I have cheesecake bite collection. It's been opened, as well as an upside down cheesecake because it was my sweet mate's birthday yesterday. And I have part of a pizza that I ordered yesterday. And we have a dilapidated box of a larger pizza that my roommate made a smaller box out of because it wouldn't fit in the fridge. And that is it. You can see how incredibly health conscious we are from our pizza and our cheesecake bites. And in the freezer, I think all we have is ice cream. Yeah, we have 2 things of ice cream in here, which is pretty much empty because we're classy like that.